What was the conversation like when you went home after the loss?
Well, it was tough. I mean, listen, we had a bunch of family and friends in town, obviously, for the game, and so just spent time with them.
But who breaks
And
the ice when you get home?
well, uh, we sat around and watched the AFC Championship game. After or really caught the fourth quarter of it. By the time we got out of the locker room, and I mean, here's the thing: the first thing I did after the game was go upstairs, see my family, and then take my kids down on the field and let them play because that's what we do after every game. So why should this be any different? It's kind of the thrill of their week to have the chance to do that. So just threw balls to my kids on the Superdome turf, and was their holder as they kicked extra points. And
Are you in denial?
I was dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I or was I?
Were you in denial right after?
Yeah, probably a little bit. Obviously just the sense of shock. I mean, obviously that's not what we expected to happen. We expected to be celebrating and getting ready to go to the Super Bowl, but it was tough. It takes you a while, and it took me a good part of all of last week. Just to try to get some closure on the game, and you go back and you just play it over and over in your mind. I mean, bottom line is obviously we know the call or the no call that could have resulted in us being here, but I like to think about the things that I can control, and that is something we can't control, so we can't really worry about it. I feel like there were things that happened prior to that moment, and then even after that moment that we did control and could have gotten us in a position to be here, and so that's what I do. For any loss, for that matter, not just that one, is you play the game over in your mind, you make those plays that maybe you didn't make, and that's how you correct the situation, and then you move on. Unfortunately, there's no other game to move on to, right? It's the finality of the season.
Take us through the play. What's the play called? And then when do you realize you're seeing something and then you're trying to plead your case to somebody?
Ironically, the play was actually it was kind of a hurry up play, a little bit of a misdirection to try to confuse the Rams defense. Ironically, the play was called Buckhead because it was a
popular part of Atlanta.
Yeah, it was a play that was hopefully going to get us to Atlanta, right? So I throw the ball, realizing they're a bit out of position, and as Nickel Roby, number 23, their nickel corner, was kind of scrambling to get to his responsibility, which was Tommy Lee Lewis coming out of the backfield. And I mean, he even said in his interview, he was trying to protect a touchdown, right? Yeah. And so there's a helmet to helmet. He was early, so 2 penalties could have been called on the play. You see when he turns around that he's waiting for a flag to be thrown, and then after 5 seconds he realizes it's not, and then they all get excited. But
do you say anything to the official or point towards the Jumbotron?
No. A lot of that was happening on our sideline. Obviously, Sean, if you see the camera angle of our sideline, you see everybody waiting for the call, right? And then when it doesn't happen, it's this eruption, and Sean goes down there and pleads his case. But you even see the official reach for the flag.
Yeah.
And then.
But I wonder about this, Drew, and I said this earlier in the week, that you had these all-star crews. Whereas if you had the team that is usually there calling games together, it feels like you're going to trust me to come over and say, hey, we need to huddle up. I think you may have made a mistake there. But if you do an all-star officiating crew, they're not used to doing this. And I wonder if it's a team together that they would have actually huddled up. Because I'm sure you could hear the helmet to helmet. It was very obvious that there was at least 2 penalties on that play. And it felt like somebody may. You've been on plays where there's 3 flags for 1 penalty. So why can't you have these officials go, wait, hold up. I think we may have missed one here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
that makes a lot of sense. Listen, we recognize that throughout the course of a game, there's questionable calls that are always made. There's calls that are missed. There's bang plays where, man, it just happened so fast, I'm not sure. And maybe some officials err on the side of, I'm going to throw the flag, and then others are, no, I'm going to let them play. each officiating crew has different tendencies. And those are things that we talk about. But to your point, when you get to the playoffs, you do have these all-star officiating crews. And to me, that doesn't make any sense. I understand you're trying to reward, these crews, these officials for good performances throughout the season. I mean, listen, they're graded, so to speak, on their performances, just like we are, right? And then that results in the playoff games that you're able to officiate or the Super Bowls that you're able to officiate. But at the end of the day, a crew develops a rapport with one another, and they know how to work together. They know how to solve those types of problems. And it would make a lot more sense to keep those crews together, to keep it consistent.
And I don't want to change the system because of one bad call. And that, it takes one bad call and all of a sudden we want to change overtime because, Mahomes didn't get the ball in overtime and the Patriots get to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
If Kansas City scored and the Patriots don't get to go, nobody says, hey, let's revamp overtime. Overtime worked in your game. You guys got the ball. The Rams played good defense, got the ball, and then won the game. As far as replaying these, I don't know how we could do this. Do you have any suggestions on how we could have, aside from making the correct call, change that call in the moment going forward?
Listen, it's difficult. Look at the progression, though, of just instant replay, for example, right? Yeah. At some point we said, all right, we need to start reviewing some of these game-changing type plays, so call it turnovers, right? Or it was, hey, let's give coaches the opportunity to throw a red flag, to have a play challenge that, so that we can all get it right.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.